let's talk about urine therapy, because this is something that has been a little bit more popular of the videos that I've made, and apparently people would like some information on that, a wider audience of people. And I also thought that I would do this on camera rather than just doing the audio. What can we talk about as far as urine therapy that other people don't talk about, or things that might help encourage or influence people to do things in this three-dimensional realm that are that is better, that is an improvement for your health, better for your system, things that can immediately impact your internal environment. I talk a lot about esoteric and hidden subjects and things that most people don't know about, and there's a path to get there. In a way, everything is always geared towards getting back to the source, and if the source is where you came from, what can we first think about this? This is a little mind game, a little bit of a, maybe Robert Anton Wilson gave you this game, I don't remember who he got it from, but he had spoke about to take something to the point of ridiculousness. But I'm going to use it in a way to get you to understand who you are and where you came from. And this has to do with the word memory, meaning water and light, and what were you before you were here? And who is God? What is God? And I don't even like using that term. I'd rather use something like source, or the point of creation, which is always consciousness. And here's how you can kind of prove that to yourself. If you step into the realm of saying, well, here I am in this physical body. I have a couple parents, and they're in a physical body, and I came out of a womb of my mother. And then I can go back farther and farther. Where did their parents come from? Who created them? I'll go. And people of religious factions often go, oh, God did. But what does that mean? What does that imply? Well, the metaphysician already knows. We've had contact with that in the other direction, meaning we've went there from this mind, this body, got out of body, and understood what the spirit is, because we've been outside of this. This is the near-death experience. This is getting out of body. This is astral travel. This is beyond even what people think of as the dream world. People don't know these other places exist because they've only had dreams, and dreams are subconscious displays that are going on in your head. They're not you stepping out into this world or to another one. And so this thought game that we're playing here to go backwards, so we can see how to go forwards to it. I mean, because it is a spiraling loop together to find the same type of information. We say, okay, who created me? My mother did. Who created my mother and my father? That's that splitting of one source energy. Where did they get created from? Go back farther, and so we get back to, it's too difficult to understand where we came from. So when we look around, where did this planet come from? Where did all of this order of this, where did that seed in that tree, where did that come from? Where did that ability for that seed to do this magical thing where a seed creates a rose, a seed creates a tree, a flower, the food that we eat? And why is it that food somehow we can find is in this perfect dynamic proportion to the human body? It's perfect. It's called food signatures, signs of nature. And so we're looking into the signs of nature, of what is nature, what is God, and where do we come from? And as we go back and we try to say, where did this unique environment come from? Where do our dreams come from? Where do these manifestations of all of our experience come from? And the farther and farther we go back, it gets to the ridiculousness of understanding that the matter that we see in front of us is not as such. That's why we live in the illusion, the Maya world. Well, it is matter. It's sitting there. But anybody that's done any psychedelics can move matter, change things. Anybody that's very powerful can move things with their mind. I can move the wind. I can move things. But what is that to you? How does that help you? It doesn't. It doesn't help you where you are. So to learn how to access these points, the point of the source, we can look to get to that source, meaning the sun, or being, whatever being came before the sun. What created all this? It was the mind. But getting back to your own mind, how do you do that? It has to be, you can do it through a myriad of ways, and one of them is a brute force method. It's out of using the material world And what we see is material to influence how we recreate or create an environment. So if we know that we came from that, we would know that we'd be expelling that in front of us. We're looking with our eyes, and we're hearing what's going on, and it's all out here. Here it is. Here's this world. And getting into urine therapy and what this is, what it has to do with getting to the point of getting out of body to even get closer to that source code, to be able to see it and access it, we use something physical. And the highest source of creation, what would it do? Because it always recreates itself. It would create your body in a way, and it, meaning your higher mind, the mind of all things, it would create, because it is recursive as well, to create itself again, anew. It would, in the body, do the exact same thing. It'd have the same type of mechanism. And so you'd be taking something in, spinning it through a vortex, and coming out the other side. And what is that? That's your urine. It's urine. Now, anybody can get into the research. There's so many other people that have done this. This is not for silly comments beneath saying that's your waste, because we know it's not. And people that have done it know what happens. We know. And what it does is actually, it gets cleaner and cleaner, and there's stem cells and other things in it. I don't want to get into what all that is, but the reason you do it is because, first of all, it shows that you have respect for yourself and what you're putting into your body. Because if it was in your body as your blood and it's coming out as your sweat or your tears or your urine, and you put it back into you, you realize it gets cleaner and cleaner. Your eyesight gets cleaner. Your third eye gets cleaner. Your ability to dream and get out of body gets cleaner. How much you vibrate, how much you just have clarity, it all becomes very clear. As the urine becomes clear, more and more clear, it's softer. When I've done my fasts on water and urine, separately and together, what I noticed that it got to a point where, while I was on urine, I find the taste of it, because there isn't much, but just the communion with it, to be much more satisfying than any type of water that I've ever had, than most things that I would ingest. There's an energetic propulsion that occurs internally. And it's also such a cleansing mechanism that it cleans your brain. And if we get into cleaning your brain, why would you want to clean your brain? Your brain should be made of 90% water at least. And that's where you get the term memory, water and light. You need water and light in your brain to see things. It's even encoded in what your brain is, be rain. It's rain of the birthing process, the birthing channel, the highest level. It rains down things into your body. Information and cleanliness. So urine therapy, that's not even the right word, because I don't even like the word therapy. It's not quite correct, but it's more of just getting in tune with yourself and your spirit. And if we see the word mem and ori, once again, meaning water and light, we see that our water is what we need to consume. And if we can't get it from ourselves, we can go out there in nature and find it. And so what we've seen, though, is we look out in nature and we see the water is poisoned. What's coming into my house right here is poisonous water. I wouldn't want to drink that. So what do? I distill it. Well, if I don't have the capacity to distill it, and if I was, say, out somewhere and I couldn't find water, what could I do? What would be the solution? Well, you bind yourself to the solution. You already encoded in your system. So you'd find a way to collect that and drink that. And simple. It's right there in front of you. Oh, it's so gross. But we know that we were born out of it. We were in our mother's womb, and that was all urine. And we can look at it. It's 95% water, a bunch of urea, and some other stem cells. I mean, that's how you grew. And this is why it's so good for all sorts of things. Then we can get even into a little farther, aging it. And why would we age it? Because it's a alchemical process, and we've alchemicalized things within our own retort, within our own system as alchemists ourselves, and we can also do it out in front of us in 3D. And that process of speeding up things, that's what alchemy does. It speeds up and it fasts. It fastens. It means to hold tight or to speed something up. A process. And if we do that outside of us, we can see the results, and we can, once we get more familiar with what ammonia is and alkalinity, we'll find ourselves, wow, it doesn't actually taste bad. It's interesting feeling on the skin. It makes my tendons looser. It makes my muscles less sore. What's going on here? Because there's a solution in there. So we find that the aged urine that's outside of us can be used to amplify and speed up a process even more. And I've used it, and when I do, because what happens here is you vibrate faster, reality is created quicker. But that also means that you have to have more control over your mind, or else you get a reality back that you might not like. So then you have to go, let's slow this reality down. How do you do that? You densify yourself. You start eating something. You slow down the vibration of every atom in your body. You slow down your brain. The frequency and amplitude, FM and AM, frequency modulation and amplitude modulation of your thoughts and vibrations internally help to create this environment out here. And if you are really sure of what you want, then it would be a very good idea to start cleaning your body with your urine and speeding up processes with the alchemized urine that is now very ammonia rich. And it's all going to bring you to a closer source of being yourself, being one thing, and understanding what the one universal mind is. And then that clarity that you'll get from using the urine is, it will show you, because you'll not only feel it, but then you'll also, the dream world become a lot more clear. And all of a sudden you'll have the capacity to actually pull your spirit outside of your body. And this goes back into even deeper knowledge of what alcohol is and alchemy and why it's called spirits. And if you know the source and what it's used for, there's a lot of shamanic activity with it. There's a lot of even reason to find what mist is, or mysticism, or mystics, and to realize that there's a reason that tobacco is used, or a reason that ayahuasca is used, or a reason that all sorts of different elements, weed, marijuana, why these things are used in practices to elevate consciousness. So hopefully this is a little bit of an inlet for people to understand there's great knowledge and wisdom with inside the whiz. Take the piss, enjoy it and see what happens. See what happens to your dreams. See what happens to the energy that you exude. See what happens to the relationships you make. You don't tell people you do this. You can do that later when you're more confident in it, but you'll find people are more attracted to you and drawn to you, and you'll be able to, you'll ingest more sun, you'll ingest more melanin, and we can get into melanin and melatonin and the connection there between the darkness of the dream world, the darkness that you get on your skin, and why the evening is connected to where the dreams are and where magic happens, and where the source code of creation is. We'll do that another time, but hopefully this was enjoyable for everybody. We'll talk soon. Cheers, y'all.